Welcome to the Diva T-Town. Welcome to the Diva T-Town, where bold, confident women embrace life unapologetically. From love and sex to wellness and reinvention, we keep it raw, real, and powerful. No filters, no limits. Just fearless conversations to help you thrive. Let's dive in with Diva Mia.
Hi, this is Diva Mia. Today's going to be a little bit more morally grounded in what needs to be happening in this country. After the events of last week and the Charlie Kirk assassination, I think we all need to self-reflect in this country. I think it's time to look inward, not just point fingers. I wanted to start with the First Amendment, because what happened was a true assault on the First Amendment. I don't care what political party you're in. We all need to take this very seriously because the First Amendment is grounded in our values in this country. The First Amendment allows for freedom of religion. It doesn't matter what religion you are, people should not be persecuted for their religion or their religious ideas. You should never feel like you're threatened because of your religious ideas. In other countries, people slaughter each other because of their religious ideas. We don't do this in this country. Recently, there was a person that went to a school and killed some children. We don't do that here. There's been shootings in schools. We don't do that here. And I say we don't do that here because we're not supposed to. However, some people have, and we need to take that seriously. We also have freedom of speech in this country. It's the right to express yourself verbally or written. You can express yourself verbally or written however you want to. That's called freedom of speech. We also have freedom of the press, which means you can disseminate information and ideas through published material. Now, just because there's freedom of the press doesn't mean you get to lie and disseminate falsehoods. So there's libel laws out there, so you can't lie about stuff. However, it is freedom of the press. The press has the ability, and quite frankly, the press needs to be less biased. I'm finding that part of the problems we're having now is because of the press. We also have freedom to assembly in the First Amendment. A lot of people haven't even read the First Amendment, but they're out there preaching on it. I recommend anyone that actually says anything or quotes anything, go read the First Amendment. We have the right to freedom of assembly. So Charlie Kirk absolutely had the right to assemble. He had the right to speak his religion. He had the right to speak freely of his opinion. He was killed for it. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're a Democrat. I don't care if you're a Republican. I don't care if you're extremely progressive, far left, far right. No one, and I mean no one, should be celebrating this. No one should be happy, and no one should be making excuses. I can't tell you how many times I've heard people say, well, he said things that weren't very nice. Well, what? Get over it, snowflake. That's quite frankly true. Anyone can say anything they want that you don't like, period. Sometimes it's considered hate speech, but that's what laws are for. If it's considered hate speech, then take him to court. We don't shoot people, and we don't make excuses for people that have shot people. He said stuff that wasn't very nice. Really? Well, if it was such hate speech, why didn't anyone take him to court? The reality is people can say what they want, and you have the right to complain, you have the right to say stuff, but there are people getting fired right now because they're celebrating Charlie Kirk's death. And they're coming out and first of all, they're celebrating online. They're promoting it. Oh my gosh, they're so happy he died. Then they go and get fired, and then they become a victim. Then they cry online about how they got fired and how it's not fair. Well, you know what? Freedom of speech doesn't give you freedom from consequences. If you're out there promoting someone's death and celebrating it, there's something wrong with you. Either you have no empathy, you're narcissistic, sociopathic, or borderline personality disorder. I'm not your shrink, but you need one. If you're out there celebrating someone else's murder, that's not empathetic. Where are your morals, values, and ethics? There's something wrong with you. Now, if you're out there celebrating while you're at work and you're wearing a work uniform, when you're at work, you represent that company. You're a representative of the company. So when you represent a company, and you're out there celebrating like a sociopath someone's murder, that company's not going to want to associate with you. Let's think back to the Coldplay scandal. When they got caught cheating on their spouses, they were gone because companies don't want to associate with people with low values, morals, and ethics. If you celebrate someone's murder, you can say it. You've got freedom of speech. It's not the nice thing. Some people might even consider it hate speech when you're doing that. Celebrating someone's murder in front of their children, in front of their wife, in front of the entire planet, because it went global. The celebration, that says something's wrong with you. Then you cry because you got fired. Well, you know what? You have to take accountability for your actions. If you're out there celebrating and you're doing it on company time and people know where you work because you're promoting it, maybe you're even in a shirt that's got the company logo, or I know some pilots got fired because they were celebrating it. You know what? If you do that, you kind of deserve to get fired because you're trying to tell the world that, whatever company it is promotes murder, promotes squashing freedom of speech, promotes squashing freedom of religion and right to assembly. And you're basically a spokesman for the company. If you're out there saying that stuff and the company has not approved that speech for promotion of their company, absolutely they have the right to fire you. They should. If I had an employee working for me and they were at their bad mouthing after someone's murder and joking about it, I wouldn't want that person working for me. So congratulations, you're now independent. You can go create your own wealth. And then you can say whatever you want. Now, people may not want to listen and they may tune you out, but that's their right as well. We don't force people to listen to other people's rants and celebrations about murder. But when you're on company time, you don't really have the right to complain about someone's murder on company time. The company is paying you to do a job. The company is not paying you to make a political statement. The company wants you to work for the company, not to go around celebrating someone's murder. You're doing it while you're getting paid from this company, or you're wearing the company clothes. Even let's say you're driving in your car and you're wearing a FedEx shirt or a UPS shirt, and you don't think that has a direct reflection on the company. We need to get back to family values. We need to get back to honestly, the 10 Commandments. I think everyone in this country should be following them, even if you're not religious, because they make sense. We need to get back to the golden rule, do unto others as you would have done unto you. If we can't get there, we're going to suffer as a civilization. A basic principle in our Constitution is that you treat others the way you want to be treated. It's it's Matt 7:12, do unto others as you would have done unto you, but it's a basic core principle. The other thing is the 10 Commandments. And I don't care if you're religious, but these things make sense. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not steal. You shouldn't murder. You got to keep the Sabbath day holy. You don't bear false witness. You don't commit adultery. You honor your mother and father. You don't steal. You don't lie. You don't covet. So for people to act like this is terrible to follow religion, these are basic things to make you a good human being. Right now, from what I'm seeing, when people are celebrating or trying to justify a murder because someone said something that hurt their feelings or someone said something that they don't agree with. Honestly, I've gone out there and I've done research, and 95 to 98% of what he said was not offensive. Questioning someone else's opinion and listening is not offensive. If you can't handle that, then there's something messed up in you. Because the majority of him was questioning, not making statements. He just questioned, why do you think that? How do you think that? Where does that come from? And then every once in a while, he would give his opinion, but he would put the mic down every time and he would listen. People aren't listening right now. They're not listening to anyone but themselves. They're all a bunch of talking heads and they're celebrating. Why? Because the person that was really loud at listening and engaging people and wanting to have debate just got eliminated. But we have to think about each other. Right now, this country is polarized. And it's creating violence. Violence leads to culture wars, and we don't want a civil war. And we need to take into consideration that this is going to have global impacts. It's already having global impacts. You can't attack freedom of speech and kill someone just because they're a talker. Charlie Kirk wasn't even a politician. Now, he helped politicians, but he wasn't a politician. Some said he would have probably run for president one day, but he's not. He was just a person out there speaking his mind and asking lots of questions. There was also a shooting at a Catholic church in Minneapolis. Then there was a shooting in Minnesota of Melissa Hortman and I believe her husband. They were killed. All these shootings lately have been crazy. Anyone that thinks they're not, there's a problem. So you got to understand, we've got to stop doing this. We've got to stop the hate. We've got to stop politicizing. We've got to stop saying everybody is wrong if they don't believe like us. But we do need to look at fact-based evidence. And right now, it appears that Charlie Kirk was assassinated because the person that wanted him dead disagreed with his trans standing. The fact that he had a trans boyfriend, and he eliminated Charlie Kirk because Charlie Kirk is not a fan of trans. Now, nobody asked the question. Maybe we shouldn't be forcing transsexualism on so many children. There are children that are getting it forced in schools through the media. That shouldn't happen. It should be a choice. And it shouldn't be a choice when someone's 8 years old. I think the medical community really needs to look into this as well. But this is not a trans discussion. This is a discussion about the morals, values, and ethics in this country. And from what I can tell, there's a few things out there that we're falling short on. First of all, we're pushing hormones on children, which is leading to more mental illness. We've closed the mental institutes, which need to be reopened, and some people need to be committed. This is going to also help with the homeless situation. Then we need to get the media in check, because the media, for some reason, thinks it can say whatever it wants and lead people and brainwash and indoctrinate people in a way. People are in such bubbles. If they're an indoctrinated media bubble, they only listen to that media source. They don't listen to anyone else. Here's what's happening is the moderates in this country, because I consider myself pretty moderate, is actually getting pushed farther right because of the media, because of this. I don't want to be pushed in any direction. I like to look at both sides of the story. But the more people come out and joke and laugh, we don't like that as moderates. We have high morals and values, and we don't like that as moderates. We want to see both sides of the situation because we find ourselves to be objective people. It's really hard to be objective when you have people joking and making fun of a murder that happened in front of a family and the world. It's really hard. Objectively speaking, all of those that are making fun, there's something wrong with you. You need to go to see a therapist. Because if you have no empathy left in your soul, and you have no morals, values, and ethics, and you're acting like a sociopath, I think it may be time for you to go see a therapist, don't you think? Because celebrating anyone's demise that's murdered in this way is just wrong. Now, some people have come out and said that, well, the Minnesota couple or the children shooting, and that's why I brought those up as well, or the Ukrainian woman, they didn't mourn. Yes, we did. No one was out there celebrating. No one was out there celebrating those deaths. But for some reason, some people think it's okay to celebrate Charlie Kirk's murder. Quite frankly, that kind of lumps you in with the sociopath that shot him. Because if you're happy about it, or you're destroying a memorial towards him, there's something wrong with you. Because nobody's rioting after this murder. People are having prayer vigils, and you can't even give them space to mourn. That's a very narcissistic thing where you make you the center of the universe. And you won't even allow people time to mourn. You make it all about you or blame. I can tell you, I saw so much nastiness the next day after his murder. I was shocked. People were making it all about them. People were out there celebrating. People were making fun. People were joking. Now, granted, the majority of people were not. But there were thousands of people out there celebrating. Then they get on and they complain because they got fired. They want to be a victim. Well, you know what? You got to be accountable for the stuff you do in this life. If you want to go out there while you're on company time in a uniform and make fun of someone, you're going to get fired. You're going to get fired. And rightfully so. So just realize it. It's not cancel culture. Cancel culture was canceling people just because they said something about anything that you didn't like. This is really showing your character. Honestly, I don't know if I'd want someone working for me that's happy about someone's murder. What does that mean about you? If someone's celebrating someone else's murder, who are you? How could I be comfortable sitting next to a person that celebrates someone else's murder? I mean, we don't need any workplace violence. But does that mean if I have a company and I have an office and I have people that are right-leaning, that you're going to do harm or be manipulative or try to cause them harm? Because if you celebrate someone's murder, it says a lot about your lack of morals, values, and ethics. Where are your values? Are you an ethical person? Can I trust you? And if you celebrate that, it's really bad. Again, the Coldplay concert, those people got fired because they cheated, because it said a lot about their ethics. It said a lot about their values and their morals. So there's limits that civilized society is willing to accept. And we're pushing back and saying, no, if you show you have no morals, values, and ethics, we don't want you working for us. You can go work for yourself. Go promote all your hate online. Joke all you want, but go promote it all online. That's your choice. But it's also an employer's choice not to have someone with that character working for them. Now, we need to learn how to be civil in this country, respect each other, tolerate more. But there's nothing wrong with someone saying something you don't like. If you don't like it, walk away. Walk away. You don't shoot someone because you know what? It just makes their message even stronger. You don't shoot someone because you've turned Charlie Kirk into a martyr. You've turned him into a holy symbol. You've turned him into someone that is going to be bigger than he was. And I know Charlie Kirk had flaws. Heck, there's things Charlie Kirk said I wasn't happy about him saying, but I would never murder him. I will support his right to say it till the day I die. I will support his right to have freedom of religion till the day I die. And that's what it means to live in this country. Everyone needs to realize that. If you can't support the basic Constitution in this country, the basic amendments to the Constitution, the way this country works, then why are you here? I'm not going to say leave, but you might want to question yourself. Why are you here? If you want more of a communist or a socialist type of country, go find one. If you want only one way of thinking, go find a communist country. Because the reality is people have the right to think different ways. And we should encourage the debate because all sides learn from each other. If we don't, the violence is going to continue. And it's going to get worse until there is a civil war. Free speech is not optional. It's a requirement as part of our Constitution to function in the society. I hope that people will allow people to continue talking, will allow people to continue the open dialogue and discussions. We need to listen to each other. The reason why it's the First Amendment is because it's the most important. It's the most important. I don't want to say the suspect's names because I don't want to memorialize him as far as the person that killed Charlie Kirk. I'd rather say Charlie Kirk's name. I don't like mentioning people that kill because I don't want to memorialize them. I don't want to honor them in any way. It's Charlie Kirk's killer, and that's what he's known as to me. It's obvious the political motivation. He said he hated Trump, he said he hated Kirk, and he said he hated Christianity. And he said that in text messages. So for anyone that's making up other stories, it's just not true. And it's time for you to go look at what actually happened. But then again, some people have so much cognitive dissonance that they can't even understand it. They can't understand that a lot of this is you're being lied to by the media. The media and fakeness on the internet, just because it's on the internet in writing doesn't mean it's true. And so a lot of people are being lied to and people follow along. But we need to start listening to ourselves and trusting our gut. And if it doesn't sound right and it doesn't make sense, it's probably not. Melissa Hortman was a state representative. She was assassinated in her home in Brooklyn Park, Minnesota, just a couple months ago. And that was terrible. And that was from a far right person. So that person, crazy. Now, a lot of people say, well, why didn't people mourn Melissa Hortman? Well, first of all, Melissa Hortman, a lot of people didn't know anything about her. She was not a national figure. A lot of people didn't have any idea about her. I guess this far-right person wanted to go and kill a lot of Democrats. I'm not saying there's not wackadoodle crazy people on both sides. But again, we need to open up some mental institutions. It's funny that every time you go to the doctor, they ask if you're depressed and they ask how you're feeling. And they have that 10 questions to determine whether you might be suffering from depression to do harm to yourself. I think they need to have more questionnaires regarding your mental status period and whether you would be doing harm to others. Now, I'm not saying we need to commit everybody that has something, but maybe we need to get more people mental help because there's a lot of mental disorders right now. People have it too easy. And we've had it too easy for a long time. When I say we have it too easy is people get to order pizza, they get to sit in their houses and just consume information that might not be real. And then they make their opinions based on an algorithm on Facebook or Instagram that keeps them focused on exactly their mindset because they click on something. So then it gives them more of the same thing. It doesn't give them opposing views. Opposing views make you question your thought process. So you don't have cognitive dissonance. But the problem is that the algorithms are geared to make you think a certain way. The news channels, they only show you one thing. I've even had people say, well, that's not a good source. I look at all sources. because not one news channel's gotten it right. Every single news channel out there has had to retract things at times, some more than others. Sometimes I hear a retraction every day, or they have to change their statements. There was been plenty of retractions of changed statements on this shooting for Charlie Kirk. Anyway, back to Melissa Hortman. Not a lot of people knew her. There was a wacko, crazy person that wanted to go around and kill multiple Democrats. So it's on both sides. But the rhetoric needs to calm down. We're all Americans first. Being a Democrat or Republican is not a religion. I don't know why some people treat it that way. I don't know why it used to be when I was growing up, just because you were Democrat or Republican, you would talk about stuff. You'd have conversations. Now you're kicked out of the family if you don't agree with someone, or you're no longer in the will if you don't agree with someone. When did having a political party become a religion? Because that's how some people treat it, and it's not. Now, I understand people like to be with like-minded people, but you know what? The people that grow like to be with people that have differing ideas, differing opinions. Because if all you do is go down one path, you're not going to grow in life. You're going to have the same ideas over and over again from the exact same people. And where is the fun in that? Where's the growth? I do believe that we need to have more psychological help for people. A lot of people don't have enough physical activity as well. People listen to one side too much. I do think that technology is going to help. Here's the other thing. There's too many single moms raising children without fathers. I believe that we need to have a man and a woman in a home. I do believe that. Or at least two parents. That way, the children get the support they need. I do think that with AI, there's going to be less jobs. In another 5 years, we're not going to need all the migrant workers. We're not even going to need two family workers. So if you have a husband and a wife, whoever makes the most money should probably stay working, the other one go home, take care of the kids. Because I have a feeling what's going to happen is there's not going to be enough jobs out there for two parties in every household to work, which should help the family unit a little bit more, because when one parent stays home to take care of the kids, the children tend to go less astray, as long as the parents are good. We need to have teaching classes for parents, because parents don't even know how to raise their children. It starts at home. If you have hate speech at home, or you allow children to be disrespectful, you don't discipline your children, you allow things to slide, that's where the hate speech starts. I hope that some of this that's going on changes ideas. I hope there's no more mass shootings. I hope that people get civil, but I just don't feel like we're there yet. There's a lot of moral decay in this country. There's a lot of hope. I did see some hope with the prayer vigils, but the morals need fixed. We need to be more fact-based. People need to stop the hate and blame. Yes, Charlie Kirk's killer was far left, but that shouldn't be who he is. He was a crazy person, because it takes a crazy person to kill someone. The killer of the congresswoman was far right. He was a crazy person. It takes a crazy person to go on a killing spree, guys. It just does. And it means you have no morals, values, or ethics. The trans kid that shot up the schools, in fact, recently, they're all crazy people. The problem is we're not stopping it early enough. We're not getting them the help they need early enough. No matter who it is, there's a lot of homeless people that should be in mental institutions, not on the street. And then they cause crime and problems, murder. It's time for us to take our society back. It's time for us to own the problems. It's time for us to put our politicians on notice that we expect you to perform. We don't want you to talk anymore. We want you to act, because all your BS talking and pandering to one side or the other and trying to get the right to hate the left and the left to hate the right's not working. Now we're just sick of the media, and we're sick of politicians, and we're sick of you trying to demonize the other side. Because we're Americans. It's time to stand up for our country again. There's no civil war because most of the people on the right believe we're all Americans, and this is a sad time. But don't push it, because anger is right behind sadness in the grieving process. So remember that. Do unto others as you would have them done to you. It's not a religious thing. It's part of civilization. It's a universal ethical guide for civilization, as well as the 10 Commandments. The farther we get away from the 10 Commandments, and the 10 Commandments can be spread out in religion, the farther we get away from that and the golden rule, the farther society goes down a dark path. And I know the 10 Commandments religious, but maybe you could take the ones that aren't so religious and implement them into school training. And listen to each other. And don't get afraid just because someone has some words that you don't like. If you don't like it, walk away. You're not forced to listen. But you are forced to tolerate, just like we're forced to tolerate the people that are celebrating Charlie Kirk's death. You're not forced to keep him employed, but you are forced to tolerate it. We don't have to listen. We can walk away, and we can let you go out of our company, Because there was nobody celebrating anyone else's murder. I don't know where and why you think it's okay. Because it's not. Free speech has to be defended, even if you don't like it, even if you dislike it. Do not kill. Do not covet. I don't know why anyone would think they have the right to take someone's life just because they said something they don't like. This is the United States of America. We need to start acting like it. There are children in crisis right now that are being raised without discipline, without respect for their elders, without any moral compass. I do believe that if you can take them to a church that teaches strong morals, if you're not good at raising your own children, take them to a church that can help. Teach your children empathy, teach them the golden rule, and teach them accountability and personal responsibility for the things they do. So you don't have a victimhood mindset child complaining about themselves getting fired when they did something to get themselves fired. And then let's have debates about mental health. Let's have debates about what we need to do in this country to help those with mental disorders. Do we need to have a different type of a mental health facility that allows people to explore who they are and get off dependency on drugs, etc. We have to balance our stress. We have to be careful when there's vulnerable youth, not to abuse them. Let's go back and let's reflect on our values as this country. Truth and honesty needs to be a value. It needs to be a value in dating, kindness, respect, discipline. All these things people need to do on a daily basis, not just when it suits them. Remember, your character is created by what you do when nobody's watching. If you're lying or cheating or stealing when people aren't watching, you're creating a character that's low vibration, that's not good for society, that's not good for your mental health. We have to keep our morals anchored together, whether you're right or left. But us as parents, we need to make sure we create strong children. We need to go back to masculine and feminine roles. Not saying that a woman has to stay home and cook. Believe me, I'm not that woman. But there are reasons men are stronger than women. It's like we've been run by the fringe and they're trying to push the masses into listening to craziness. And if we don't listen, then they cancel you or they shoot you. It's time for the fringe to stop it. And it's time for the masses and the majority to stand up and to stop being so weak and wimpy and to have your voices heard. Society needs to demand a higher standard and accountability for all these behaviors too. And I think it starts with education. And I'm sorry to say this, but education is all tilted left. When you have a university that 95% of the people are left-leaning, you're not getting opposing views. You're not getting any type of conversation. You're getting a dictatorship. And it's funny that they call Charlie Kirk a fascist, even though he's not in charge of anyone except for his company. But the definition of fascism is you don't listen to other people. You kill people that disagree with you. And that's exactly what happened. In universities, a lot of universities are fascist because they don't listen to anyone else but themselves. Remember that. It's a fascist thing to kill someone you disagree with. It's a slippery slope for those of you that are arguing for his death or, telling people he needed to killed or celebrating it. It's a very slippery slope because that pushes you closer to the wrong side of the fence and eliminates your morals, values, and ethics. Because quite frankly, I don't think anybody needs to die for anything they say. Not Martin Luther King, not JFK, not RFK, any of the big political assassinations. And that's what we're talking about here. The fact that it was videoed and recorded for everyone to see every possible angle. And the world now knows. I do appreciate the world. There's so many rallies right now for Charlie Kirk worldwide. It's becoming an international rallying cry for freedom of speech worldwide. So I think that long term, this is going to be bigger than Charlie. Long term, this is going to be bigger than anything we thought. Overall, I think his death will matter and mean something. But I feel so much for his family, for his 2 kids that'll never know their father, but saw him die, for his wife, his loyal wife that watched everything happen. And they're so young. I hope that this creates a movement of people that are open to free speech. Again, this is not a Democrat or Republican thing. This is a humanity thing. Those that seek to destroy others just because they have a difference of opinion, where's your humanity left? Where do you go from here? There are people celebrating when Trump got shot. In fact, questioning why he didn't die. That's so sad. And you need to go look in the mirror. Is that who you truly are? That you want to kill people that disagree with you? Or at least celebrate it? That's really sad. Well, I think I'm going to wrap it up. I think that I've said enough. I probably offended a few people, and I probably haven't offended enough. But it's okay to offend, because that's what freedom of speech is. It's okay to say things that are uncomfortable to say, because that's what free speech is. It's okay to look inward. It's okay to look outward. It's okay to be That's the beauty of this country. That's what makes it stronger. Please do not try to make it weaker. We need the open debate. We need the honest conversation. We need others to talk to us and tell us how they feel. So I hope you have a wonderful week. I hope everyone is healing. I don't think that this is going to stop anytime soon. I think this has changed the political landscape for quite some time, but I hope it changes it in the right direction. This is Diva Mia. I hope you have a wonderful week.
Thanks for tuning in. Like, subscribe, and drop a comment. We'd love hearing from you. Visit thedivadetails.com to connect. See you next week for more.
Diva Details podcast and website are intended solely for informational and entertainment purposes. The content provided does not constitute professional, medical, financial, or legal advice. We are not licensed medical practitioners, financial advisors, or legal professional. Always consult with a qualified healthcare provider for medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Any financial topics discussed are based on personal opinions and experience and should not be considered professional advice. The content provided does not constitute legal advice. The Diva Details and its affiliate contributors and guests are not liable for any losses or damages arising from the use of our content. The opinions expressed in the podcast are solely those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views of any affiliated organization, sponsors, or partners. All facts discussed in the podcast are researched and accurate to the best of our knowledge at the time of recording. Information may change over time. No guarantees are made regarding the accuracy, completeness, or reliability of any statements or opinions presented. It is the responsibility of the listener to verify any and all facts that may influence their decision. This podcast is for information and entertainment purposes only and should not be considered professional advice.